Sanbonani, Dumelang, Absheni. I'm Lindani Mtetwa, your host. As you can see, I'm not alone here. I'm with Onthatile and also Alex. Welcome back to Blue Voice at 12, guys. It's been a long time, eh? But then, I guess it's weird back here. I'm trying to just check here with the ICT. We say information, communication, and technology. My G's here, we're gonna be just giving you more information about ICT. Let me say technology. We are just communication and giving you information based with technology. How are you doing, sir?
Pretty peachy. I can't complain. I'm glad to be here, and I'm hoping we have a good channel podcast episode.
Tadili, how are you doing, mister?
It's a beautiful Sunday. I'm okay, and I really cannot complain. I'm just hoping today goes well. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's just get to it, guys. Let's break it down. What is technology based on your understanding?
So I would say technology, just looking at its basic definition, is a tool of advancing production, okay, or survival, or work, or what some would call the game, But we'll get into that one soon. So in production, we understand production is it's merely just a form of survival that in today's world we don't really say that we are surviving the way you would say, maybe let's say go back when men used to work with just stones and rocks, and they used to create tools with those things. That was an age of technology called the Stone Age, right?
Okay.
An age of technology, and with that, it was more of a survival kind of view on what on getting through day to day. But then today, when we look at technology, we think of production. We think of a product, and that product is something that's going to advance our survival, our day-to-day survival, in our personal lives, in businesses, in all its aspects.
Okay.
And
Alex?
yeah.
Alright. My definition is somewhat similar to his. I'd say technology is any external thing that can be used to affect the human's life. So that means anything that's not part of your human body, but you use it to change your life in some way, shape, or form, would be technology. So this cup would be technology, the phone, the clothes on our back, all of these things that make our lives better or even worse are what falls under technology. But as he said, in modern day, when you think technology, you think cars, planes, your phone, more internet connected things. And I guess that's going to be a heavy topic in this podcast.
You just postulated a part of saying most of the things. Now, let me just say what you said is that technology is more like everything that is happening currently. You mentioned the part of that it cannot be in the human body, but can be used
To affect it.
it.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have more points on that?
So yes, now going into technology, I did mention the Stone Age, right? And today we have what we call the digital age, right? In technology. And before the digital age, we have the revolution in industry and the impact of technology in that industry. We have the first, the second, the third, and the fourth. In the first industry, it was all based on coal and just steam and water. Remember the steam trains. That was the time of usually the first industrial revolution, and all that was just purpose of production, advancing human lives. And then we have the second, which was based on gas. We have the third, which was electronic and nuclear. And through electronic and nuclear was born information technology, because now having the ability to now take a machine that can take data, process that data, and output that data. The output of data is called information. So information is, in its definition, is just processed data.
Isn't data information or a collective information which is not yet processed.
That's what it is, yeah. So let's say just take traffic going on the N1. You know, the noise and all that, people do not understand how to interpret that. But if you have a news reporter in place to tell you that, okay, it's busy at N1 and this is the number of cars that are at N1, and if you are planning on taking the N1, then trust me, you are not going to get anywhere soon. That is being informed. That is information.
Through technology.
Well, through just data being input, you know, by a news reporter, taking it in, and then processing it probably in their mind, and then outputting it on the news channel to people, saying that that's information. Yeah, the data they took from what's happening on N1 and presenting it to people, it becomes information. So,
Okay.
yeah.
The only way they can tell people or update people is through different platforms. I can say social media platforms, like where we get updated, and that comes through technology.
That
And
works through
what you're saying is that what they are doing, we can call it technology, not what we get.
The whole input and processing and outputting of data is not necessarily something that a device can do. Even a human being does that. You waking up in the morning, reading your emails, and then putting them down in an informed manner, planning your day. You're informing yourself of your day, taking just data about, you know, what is around your day and putting it in pattern. That is now you're being, you know, informative about that data to yourself or to whoever may need that data. Maybe say it's a meeting and you've prepared the schedule.
I feel the energy this side. It's more like you wanna say something.
No. I'm just for now. I'm just listening and going up like along as he says.
So yeah, just to finish up with the third revolution, because I know that's not the point of our conversation.
Yeah.
Through the electronics, now, you know, machine got capabilities of processing without human need. Because sometime back, before electronics got very advanced, every single section of processing and whatever required a person. Say maybe Alex there was punching numbers, and then after punching numbers, you as the processor, you are someone who has to say, okay, he punched numbers here, da 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 da, and then me as someone who has to display that output, I have to now say, okay, maybe with the fact that maybe section 1 had more punchlines, that's what I have to prioritize. Section 2 has less punchlines. It's going to be the last thing I mention when I you know, go confront people and tell them about the data we've collected.
Okay.
So that's now informing. So but then now we have now machine in the third revolution being able to now just implement that without human should I say interactions. Yeah. But in a way, humans still needed to observe that process, because then machine was not necessarily even at its best. There were mistakes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then now, today we are coming into the fourth industrial revolution. There is a much more space between man and machine, where now we don't even need to be in the same room as a machine for it to do what it needs to do.
But the machine can now process the things on its own.
And it can then on its own.
Okay.
And that is now through first the internet. The fourth industrial revolution was first working with the internet. Now take, you know, businesses were now able to communicate with each other over, you know, devices. And that really enabled ease in terms of, because in business, the most important thing, as we know, time is what's money, right? So it enabled ease in time and made people more flexible in many ways. So all that, you know, really is just things that, you know, are part of production. You know? Yeah. So yeah, that's the internet, and yeah, we can now go into the main topics of what now technology is today, which is now its impact on social media, its impact on even personal lives. Say for instance, if we look at say, okay, going back into production.
Yeah.
Production, what it has done, it has just changed. Its way of operating. The purpose still remains. We are trying to survive.
Yeah.
But then the game changes. Like take agriculture for instance. In the second industrial revolution, in time where gas was the thing, it was very implement agriculture and machine wasn't necessarily integrating, because not much agriculture needs gas, So now today technology is just integrating every single part of our lives, in every single aspect of production. Let it be agriculture, let it be anything under humanities, anything under even what IT people, they themselves are also affected by the change in production, because if say we are being taught third industrial revolution concepts like just traditional concepts on technology, while as today in first world countries we have countries where like they are now implementing these new concepts that are too, like I said, they're just too now integrated to many of the systems that are of our survival. And yeah, like I would like to just have Alex mention some things that he had earlier about AI.
That's well. Before I get into that topic, let me just sort of summarize what's been said the past few minutes, just to make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah.
So basically, with the advent of the third industrial revolution, you had a situation where when the first computers were being made, it made the input, processing, and output, like that sort of process, like streamlined, where you could do all of that on a single machine. And that kind of revolutionized how we as a world just go through life. Because imagine 100 years from now, like 100 years in the past, the things we have right now, they wouldn't have even been able to think about it.
Yeah.
The fact that you could just punch something into a rectangular device and you'd be able to get more information at the tips of your fingers than any king in the past has ever had, it was a revolutionary concept. So when that came about, that's where people started to say, hey, instead of, now that we can just do everything on a singular device, how about we now find a way to connect the most people to this? So that's how you got your first emails and just ways of communicating instantly across large distances.
Yeah.
So that was the crux of the matter, right? Now with the fourth one, the problem with, like, one of the main things about the fourth industrial revolution is that a lot of human sectors used to be separate things. He did mention that. In the past, agriculture, medicine, economy, all of these different sectors of society were all different things. But now with the advent of electronic devices, smartphones, computers, we have a situation where technology is linking every single aspect of human life.
Yeah.
Through your phone, you can access your banking app, you can call your doctor, you can see your medical records. All these things that you'd have to go to different places for in the past, you can just find in one place, and that's connected through technology. Now, you wanted me to talk about it in modern day.
Yeah, I wanted you to mention AI, but you did also say something about communication, right? I don't know if this is the right point to be now going into communication. But yeah, in communication, he mentioned email, all these platforms that allow us to just communicate with each other. So now that allows us to go into this term social media. Like the term media is just a channel, and then social is just a way that or a ground where now the certain, like, whatever rules and standards, human standards that are applied, and that's just social media. Social media is just a channel of socializing. a channel of communication, and channels of communications have not just been through email. We've had channels of communication before electronic devices.
Yeah.
So in a way, social media has been there for a while. It's just that today, in its definition, it works along with content. Yeah. So.
Okay. Yeah. I am impressed. The information I'm getting today, guys. Yeah. As young honestly speaking, but I'm getting there just to be right. But yeah, Blue Voice at 12. We are still with you. I hopefully Alex gonna say some points since he was still there.
Yes. Well, this is a conversation we were having a bit before the podcast started, but I was like, let's save it for the actual content. But one of the biggest, I think, now that you've defined what technology is in the modern day, using the internet and stuff, now I'd say the biggest thing in technology right now is AI, artificial intelligence. Having a computer be so advanced and so complex that it can mimic human behaviors and thought processes. I think it was either late last year or earlier this year, there was something that came out called ChatGPT-3. Now, this was revolutionary because you had a situation where people, knowingly talking to a computer, knowing that this was just a software program, felt as though they were talking to another human being. And not only was that mind-blowing, there's also the fact that this AI could do so many different things. You could ask it to solve problems. You could ask it to generate code for websites. You could have some form of conversation with it, and it would feel as though you're talking to another human being. Yeah. And not only did it progress from there were other parts of AI that grew from that. Like you have a thing of AI art. Let's say you have something in your mind, you want to draw something, but you don't have the skills to produce it. You can now just go to any sort of website with an AI art software, tell it what you want it to draw, and it will draw it for you. And I've seen some of these pieces of art. They're better than most people could ever dream of achieving. So now it's a thing of it kind of takes away from real human artists because they're like, wow, my skill set can be done by a computer in minutes. And right now you're seeing it mostly in art and more basic stuff, but it's growing because recently what was released was ChatGPT-4. It was the next stage of ChatGPT-3. Now, whereas GPT-3 could only process text information, now GPT-4 was multimodal. It can process text, sound, imagery. In the past, you could ask an AI to draw something for you, but now you're in a position where an AI doesn't have eyes, it doesn't have sensory organs, but you can input a picture into an AI software and it will be able to relate to you what exactly it's seeing. And now I did say in the past that ChatGPT-3 could generate code for your website. Now you don't even need that. You could take out a sketchbook, draw out how you want your website to look, give it to ChatGPT-4 and it will produce that website. What would take, I'm a computer science student. One of the modules I'm doing is the creation of websites. But what would take me or any other computer technician hours to do, an AI can do in minutes. So you're going to, now it's a situation where it's the AI is progressing so quickly that it's making so many human industries obsolete. And yes, in the past industrial revolutions, we did have a thing where people were like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job. How will I survive? But they couldn't see that them losing their job, it would open up the way for new industries to pop up. Industries that they would have never even imagined existing. So I'm sure even now we're in that same situation where I can't imagine how an AI world would look like. I'd have to experience it to even have an idea. But I know that something will spring up. Even if, let's say, my degree becomes useless. Hopefully it doesn't. But even if it does, something would spring up where human life would continue. Because, alright, I want to backtrack a bit about how AI is affecting different sort of communities. Drake's song was released a few weeks ago, a Drake and The Weeknd collaboration. When I first listened to it, I was like, wow, I didn't know Drake and The Weeknd did collaborations. only to find out it was AI made. It sounded like Drake. It sounded like The Weeknd. You'd really think these guys made this,
Listen to that, yeah.
but it was an AI song. They had no input. They'd never even heard the song before it was released. So now you're in a situation where if artists are now being made irrelevant, if I just need a few snippets of your voice to be able to make a song featuring you, you wouldn't get royalties, you wouldn't get anything. What else is going to be made irrelevant?
Okay. Wow. Proceed.
So yes,
Yeah.
before I continue with that, you did mention how now, were you the one who did mention something about, okay, I forgot, but something about social media. It's that social media. Now that with the help of the internet, there is a problem with socializing. I think I was going over with you this the other day, with how people do not understand social media. Do not understand social media, because now people would socialize. For example, how people would socialize, in ways that are so that are like bound by maybe their religion or tribe, and then when they bring that to the internet, it kind of has a sort of controversial thing to other people. Other people opposed to your views, and some people who understand the internet understand that the internet isn't a place for these things. As with the AI, many of its applications, they have removed any racial, tribal, or any like personal human, should I say, what do I call these things?
Like features, basically.
Yeah. So now, with social media, people have themselves communicating in these ways that are not only affecting others, but then themselves in future, in terms of employment, in terms of even just walking outside on the road. You find someone maybe might have done something ridiculous at the tavern the other day, and because the video is trending, whenever he's in the public, he's just a joke. And that affects a person.
I think that all falls under the risk of using social media.
And the person who's even taking the video, it's not that he's taking it. Many times you find that it's not that he's taking it because they want to embarrass the person or anything. It's a moment. They feel it's a moment, and then sharing it's a moment.
Of which, if you can check now, for one to trend, it's just to take a video, just a video, then one will trend, will get somewhere in life by taking the video, of which it does have advantage and also disadvantage. Because if you're gonna go with social media platforms, I must say they do have advantages and disadvantages. Because if you can check, back then it was hard for one to socialize, but through social media it's whereby you can know somebody without knowing that person physically. Checking that you can you can know yourself better through social media than before. But now the risk is when you have to be out there with people, you can't act as you were behind the socials.
That is it right there. That is it right there. People need to understand that that is a platform. It's a stage. It's where you act in a certain sense. You do not necessarily show yourself, the naked truth of yourself. You don't do that. So but then through social media, it comes with a lot of pros. Like you get exposure and understanding it. I best advise to say through understanding it. Do not hold on to miraculous events, because people say, I'm just gonna put content down there and eventually someone's gonna pick it up. So you don't know what kind of, you're just posting content, and what if some of that content you're posting is very harmful to other people. So you need to assess social media today, including the internet. Because it's not just about you. It's a stage.
Yeah, I'd love to just like add on to what you've said, and because I'm glad this social media topic was brought up. The thing with social media is that it's the best form of evidence that sometimes we as humans are victims of our own success. Because we live in a time where We are more connected than ever. We are more socialized, and yet people are also feeling more isolated than ever before. Because despite the fact that everybody and their mother is using social media, the rates of depression, loneliness, feeling like an outcast have risen. And you have to wonder, sit down and wonder, how is it? This technology that we've made to connect people is doing the exact opposite. This thing that was made so that people can see more of life is making them hate their own lives. Because here's the thing. The problem with social media is that in the past, it's right, this is both a good thing and a bad thing. In the past, you were limited in scope to what you saw.
Yeah.
If you were a boy from the village in, say, the mid 1950s, you wouldn't know just how big the world was. You'd only have your own small isolated place. So you'd have your horses, the farm, all that stuff. So you wouldn't know that there's boats, there's planes, there's operas and all that stuff. Now, so despite the fact that you may feel sad at not knowing more outside of your world, you also wouldn't really see it in such a way that it would affect you. Now you live in a life where everybody just wants to feel special because you see things on social media. You see people that are more attractive than you, that are more money than you, that are going to places that you know in your heart you'll never see. Places you know that you'd never like. There are places in the world I'm pretty sure that unless I work very, very hard, I won't be able to see them. And that just makes you feel bad because humans are social animals. We do want to be able to compare ourselves to others and see how well we're doing in life. But when you're comparing yourself against billions of people, you just start to see just how wide that gap can get. Because imagine here in South Africa, I'm seeing people my age out here traveling around the world. I'm like, wow, where did I go wrong? Why not me? So it does feed into that sense of anxiety and insecurity. And another way is that it also affects how we see each other. There was a study about TikTok. We've all gone through TikTok. Me personally, I know that I'm one of these people that's going to be affected. The problem is, one of the things that trend on TikTok are attractive people. The more attractive you are, the more the TikTok algorithm will push you. So what was found was this. People were seeing so many attractive people. They were being bombarded with people who are above average so much that they started to think they were the average. So you had a situation where a 7 out of 10 was seen with so many other 7 out of 10s that they were seen now as a 5. So that one makes you wonder, how is now a 5 seen? Because one of the biggest issues of social media and TikTok is that it's making people think the average is much higher than it actually should be. Because you now live in a world where if you're called a 5 out of 10, it means you're average, you're okay. You're not ugly, you're not beautiful, you're just I. But now if I was to call you a 5 out of 10, you'd feel disrespected because people are now thinking that 7s are the new 5s.
That's what I meant with the game is changing. Because even just not only on the internet, even just relationships, the game is changing. Like the approach style and all that, it's been impacted by what's happening over social media. So when it comes to it being a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. Just looking at how throughout history, even through these other revolutions, there have been things that had to be changed, views, perceptions, and I feel as though this is just another event, just humans just going through that evolution process.
Yeah, because one thing that you should consider is that people that are smarter than you or I are still battling with these very same topics. So I can't really say whether or not it's good or bad. All we can really do in this podcast is give people the information and basically say, make up your mind for yourself. Because a bad thing about social media is that it makes people think the same way. I love how you brought up things about culture and tribe being irrelevant on the internet. Because the thing is, the internet has its own cultures. It has its own beliefs and traditions. There is an internet culture that people can just subscribe to from the comfort of their own phone. Like memes, funny videos, all these things are how internet culture spreads and grows. So it leads to a thing where so many people are subscribing to this culture that they're starting to think the same. They're starting to not have original ideas anymore. They're starting to subscribe to one form of thinking which is bad because as a human, you need to be fluid. You need to be willing to change. You need to be able to say, there's things I don't know, and that's okay. But because of the internet, everybody thinks they know everything.
Yeah.
But they don't know that they don't know.
Yeah.
This other guy, I forgot his name, the scientist or something, or more like Lamarck and Darwin, falling under those guys. Mentioned the part that if you think you are smart, you should know that you don't know anything. The more you think you are smart, the more you think you know, is the more you don't know.
Yeah.
Guys, it's Blue versus 12. It's about airing your views, your opinion, and also fact. Not that everything that we are talking about and we are discussing as, let me say, in your books or what you know. If you think you know something better, just hit us. Comment section there and just subscribe there in the comments. You can add your comment. Tell us where did we miss, what was that we are supposed to add, and what is it that we should remove. The show is still continuing. If you guys still have some points there.
No, we still do. I wanna
Push this a bit more.
Yeah.
just we're done on social media. Or
It's up to you.
With social media, like I've already said more.
Yeah.
Like
So
like you have to come up with your own opinions. Like learn to one piece of advice I can give to people is learn to control yourself. Social media is a tool. It's supposed to work for you, not the other way around.
Yeah.
If you feel being online messes with your sense of self or with who you should be or how you want to be, then just like cut back. Like be careful what you post online. Like now we're talking about the fact that if you act a fool and someone like gets a picture of you doing that, it can mess with your job opportunities.
Yeah, true.
Digital footprint is real. Understand the kind of world we live in.
Yeah.
Censor yourself. Well, not censor, but like control yourself and just realize that the things you say online are starting to have real world impacts. And just be careful how you act in like social environments where everyone has their phone. Because even now, I'm sure we all saw that video from main campus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rest
Like
one.
it was those two girls were fighting.
Yeah.
That is now for life.
that is for life.
It's for life. Like once it's on the internet, it's never going down.
Yeah.
So
It's
just
forever.
like watch out for yourself.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Because just also what you said, whatever's happening on the internet is a culture of its own, and even throughout time, there's always been conflicts of culture, right? Western culture, African culture, and even in their little should I say subdivisions of it. In African cultures there are different aspects to it. So yeah, there've always been conflicts. Some cultures have had to be left. Some cultures carried on, and yeah, just understand that now, whatever you're going over the internet you're still surviving. Understand that you're still surviving. You are coming from a cultural background of your own, infiltrating another culture, and for some people they click. Some cultures they click. For some people it takes a lot of time for you to be part of the internet. Really, because of language can be a problem. Because you find that if you are speaking maybe of like Arabic descent, you are a terrorist. So people now have to work on their accents, things like those. I mean, it comes to now other things like people's pride, letting go. People find it hard to let go to like old ways because of new ways, but it's part of the process.
Now I won't let go checking on my accent until I get the accent Alex, then
No, don't. Yeah, it's not to say that. It's not to say that. Let it change who you are.
Yeah.
Just keep being yourself, and then you'll find your way.
Okay, I have a question. Talking that both of you guys, I think you are studying things that are related to internet or technology.
I'm doing information technology. You see, you're doing IT, right?
Yeah, computer science.
Computer sciences. Okay, guys. Yeah, you need writing better than Abun Korn. If you can check, based on your understanding or your view,
Yeah.
10 years from now, the technologies will be good. 10 years from now.
10 years, like the globe, the whole world, or
The whole
Africa,
world.
the whole world.
Yeah.
10 years from now, like Alex was saying, already we have what we call the AI, machines that are learning for themselves. A lot of jobs out there, obviously, as we are already seeing, are going to be hard labor jobs, especially, are going to be replaced by a machine. People are not going to be working those positions anymore.
And that is happening currently.
And even the best position to find a person in terms of this revolution is to be behind the machine or using the machine. You know, behind the machine meaning in creating and operating it, or using it maybe into your day-to-day life. Those are the two best places that you can find yourself. Yeah. And
my question is coming a team. Checking a routine. 10 years back, if I'm not, no, not 10 years back. Let me say 20 years back. I'll start with cars.
yeah.
Back then, imoto bezikona, fine. But let's say in a screen atachayo, we didn't have that. It was just start to go like volume ilana, just press. But if you can check now, you speak to the car when they like you touch even more full of volume. You touch somewhere, checking on my phone each and every year. Sila, iPhone each and every year, like
It keeps improving more.
yeah. And now checking that we have a new phone that is coming, which is going to be competing with iPhone. I don't know if people are aware of that or they are not, but it's coming. It's not a Maserati, it's a Tesla. Checking with my details on your phone, what it has, like 10 times really iPhone. But iPhone, I can say is not the best. Putting my iPhone, checking all the devices. Back then, that devices based in now, mine is the same now. And each and every year, at our leagues, I appear. So my question is, 10 years from now, that means I'm going to fly, so I'm going to have more possible.
Okay. Yeah. You wanna go first?
Yeah, let me try and go first. Yeah, well, the thing is, with just how the thing with technology man, is that the more it improves, the faster it improves. Imagine like I remember bringing out ChatGPT 3. It was already revolutionary, but then a few months later, an even more revolutionary version of it was brought. So in this age we're living in, either one of two things will happen. Either you'll go too high and it will not meet your expectations, or you'll go too low and your expectations will be blown. But what I can say is that, as you said, a lot of manual labor jobs are going to be lost. A lot of manual labor jobs have already been lost throughout each progressive industrial revolution. I mean, just look now. It seems with this latest one, lower and middle class jobs are being lost. Even some high class jobs are already being taken away. Example, in some countries, stores, instead of there being a cashier behind the store, instead of there being a clerk, it's all automated. Like from the moment you get in to when you pay and leave, you don't have to interact with a single person. So imagine just how many people would lose their jobs if that happened in South Africa. Imagine if every shop right in South Africa became automated. Those are tens or hundreds of thousands of jobs just gone. Now imagine, let's go to middle class, accounting. What else can I say besides accounting? Accounting, managerial positions.
Yeah.
If a computer software, it doesn't need to sleep, you don't need to pay the salary, the most you'll do is you pay the creators of it. It's going to lead to a thing where the middle class is going to either erode heavily or vanish alongside the lower class. So like, it's gonna be hard for a lot of people. I'm not gonna lie.
It is. And just to also fill in on what you were saying, it's like with third world countries, we have expectations of how the youth has to bring in job ideas, and now the little irony in, I don't know if to call it irony or what, but a problem in that is that in creating today, to create jobs, to have a business, you don't even need infrastructure. You don't need people. So even if you were to tell someone to create like jobs, it's like everyone is employing themselves today.
Yeah.
Maybe in the more specifically in the first world countries than the third, but everyone is employing themselves today because every hard labor, everything else, everything is able to be operated by machine. The only thing that that is not in the way of human existence is the innovation that human beings have. So a lot of things are just like, even if you look at the amount of inventions created today compared to like in the 19th century or something, more things are being produced and also advertised than back then, because lack of channels and also the lack of time, because now you needed a certain sector to finish up. Maybe even Steve did not come in today, but then you don't worry about that with machine, and it becomes a problem if you want to have jobs created in a world today which does not really work on jobs. So yeah, but then looking at those things you mentioned, cars, cars started off with horses. Eventually,
And as the mode of transport.
that was the mode of transport. Eventually, when it came into coal, that's when we started having the steam cars. Eventually, when it came into gas, it also advanced. When it came electronic, that's when now we were able to integrate devices in the vehicle.
Of which, that's technology.
And then today, the car itself is just driving its own. It's capable of driving its own. It's capable of just doing everything on its own without the human interaction. Like a person could just sleep in the car until they get to their destination. That's the level of freedom they have because of machine.
And like, just to quickly add on to that, another thing I could see in the next 10 years is the fact that, of course, more and more things will be integrated. We have smart cars that can drive themselves and have all these good features. There was even like a whole patent recently where they're like, if you don't pay your car, what's it called, mortgage, it's not a mortgage for a car, but like, if you don't pay your monthly installments for your car, it can just drive itself back to the dealership. So again, things are getting a lot smarter. So it's going to be a thing of the Internet of Things. As more and more devices are connected to the internet, they are going to be able to communicate in ways we've never seen before. Your clock could tell the oven to start making food while your car is driving you home, so that as soon as you get to your house, dinner is ready. Your children can have a digital tutor teaching them things that was gonna make our kids a lot smarter than us, hopefully. You have houses where everything is so automated and sleek. The floorboards never get cold. There'll never be snow in the driveway. It's just super convenient. And it basically made, the transition from one of those old phones to a smartphone. That's what's going on in the housing market. From normal houses to smart houses, and they're going to become more and more readily available.
People. I tell you, man, this is more futuristic. I think we're going to futuristic things now, but even in homes are going to be so smart that people are going to be vacating in their homes. The home can change its setting into maybe a beach setting, even the temperature can be adjusted, so that a person can just relax in their home and just, and when it's time for, just whatever you want, you have the entire room becomes like a glass in a way,
Basically, like, all the walls can have, I forgot what they're called, like an LED screen. Basically, so it means the walls will be able to change. so that you feel like you're in different places, as you said. But the problem with that is that with the modern day technology, you're having people become more and more dissociated from your life. They're no longer part of, us outside. Most people these days speak to people on their phone more than they do face to face. You can have a situation where there's a room full of people and everybody's on their phones. So now imagine if from the comfort of your own home you can be anywhere, you can experience anything, you can do as you please. Why would you ever want to go outside?
And on top of that, you have a machine that not only now is able to mimic audio, it can do everything. Why would you want to even talk to anyone? I mean, already you don't even know who you are talking to at the end of the device. You don't. Right now, you can just assume, it's maybe an AI. It took over. So once people have accepted that, okay, AI is something that I can also treat as human, then a lot of like relationships are going to be affected.
Because even now,
lives.
if you were to open your app store, like I remember seeing an advert for AI girlfriend, I was like, wow, people are really going out here treating a computer software as an actual human being and having a deeper connection with it than they can with their fellow man or woman.
True.
And that's gonna make things a lot better.
What I hate about all those things, not that I hate it, but
Taking the disadvantage of it is that I think it's going to be more expensive than now. That means everyone should be moneyed.
Well,
Because you can't afford like having a house full of glasses, not just glasses, but what do you call it, LED or something. Like we won't afford that. If I can't afford an iPhone 14 now, how am I gonna afford iPhone 18 my feet?
But then here's the thing, Lindani, back to production. Now, if you look at, and if like from what we've covered, we understand that the whole process of production will be done by machine. Now, do tell me, what's the point of cost if everything is being done by machine? But then just on a realistic sense, things are going to be very cheap in future. The idea of having like a warm surface,
I think it's gonna be cheaper if you have information.
Not just that, but cheaper because of the systems in place. The systems are more flexible and smart to say that, okay, even if it's like a temperature below, there is it's smart enough to know that looking at the whole house, maybe if the energy is concentrated on the ground and all the appliances are not working, it's going to reduce consumption of all the other appliances, saving things like electricity. And even the production of electricity from where it's coming from, let's say maybe, I don't even think we're going to be working much with coal. Then it's going to be just
renewables.
So if people are working with wind, you have a fan outside, which is also smart. If it sees a change in wind, it'll change, taking all that energy and converting it.
So what I'm trying to say is that it's more like I can have a laptop, but having a laptop is much useless if I don't know how to use it. I can have a laptop. When I'm with your laptop, you can make a lot of money by using your laptop. I can have the laptop, but the only thing that I can have access to or something that I know is just weight. That means the laptop to me is useless.
You're not using it to its fullest extent.
Yes.
But I do agree. That's why I was like, I even want to say that Lee does have a point. Even let's say with pricing, how technology works is this. A new technology is brought out. It's going to be very, very expensive. Like people have to work to get it. But the more people get it, the more normalized it becomes, the cheaper it will also be. So it's gonna be a thing of like, smart homes are so expensive. Like unless you have a few $1 million, not rands, a few $1 million, don't even think about getting a smart home. Like it's not in the tax bracket.
Right now, what is this? This other show called is it Den of Dragons? Something like that. Where I think they have people. It's a show of investors.
Oh, so something like Shark Tank.
Yeah, something like that. So I've heard of these smart houses already being implemented, and right now, of course, they are very expensive.
Yeah.
Of course, but when now they're even, I don't know if we will have television at that time, but television worthy, for advertisements, I'm sure it will be like,
Like,
reasonable.
the more
market
people
price.
get it, the lower it will become price
It will be
wise.
reasonable market price.
It means one should work hard.
Yeah,
But
that-
just
it's-
work
it's-
hard. We're getting more information and
Yeah.
working hard to have more money.
Yeah.
Being informed is more like you have it all. Because there are those people who got money but they don't know how to use it. Yeah. Without having information, without being informed about something, you sometimes make wrong decisions or waste it. You have it, but you don't know how to use it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. Because even with technology, every form of technology is stupid. It has no mind. It needs information, from another system.
Oh, yeah.
Or if it's the foundation of a system, it needs data that comes in, and then eventually all that information is used to make the system operate. But then without that command from you, Lendani, all these equipments mean nothing. So yeah, it's to say information is important. You can have all the technology, you can have all the money, if you just don't have the information and understanding of the technology and whatever you are applying your information on, it's just gonna make it hard for you to survive. Get where you want to get. Yeah.
Because
So information is fun.
as he said, like, we now live in the digital age, the information age. We live in an age where information is money. Like, you can even see, this is the part we didn't mention about the social media topic. It's that social media is free, but nothing is really free in life. So how is it that these big companies are able to keep maintaining these things if they don't have any form of monetary barrier in place? It's because if you're not the consumer, you're the product, your information is helping make these people billions. So that's the thing, like, knowledge is power in our modern day. So one thing that you can genuinely try to do is keep yourself informed. Say someone was watching this podcast episode and we mentioned a sector that they're trying to get a degree in is probably going to vanish. If you can see that you're going to wind up in a situation where your degree is useless, like, just sit down and think, okay, how far can this degree get me in the next 5 years, 10 years? Try to make sure that you're safe so that if the inevitable does happen, you won't be left sitting at home saying, wow, I wasted all of my time at school for what?
Yeah, and also with that, today a lot of the whole AI itself, it's still in the process of development, and it still needs human beings of experiences even outside IT. People who are under the agriculture, under even like you, Lendani, journalism, under anything, medicine, under all these
Different sectors.
that are not necessarily IT. We still need you guys, and that is through maybe like you, Zolan, Lendani, forgive me, like you, who is now taking the internet and putting this information out through the internet, through your journalism skills. Like, I don't know if who knows, this can be very important to someone out there.
It should be very important of you listening.
Yeah, it should be. So yeah, it's not to say that give up on your dreams and where you are right now, you are lost or anything. Just you need to just step back, assess, and integrate the internet into your life. Yeah, you'll find your place.
Before I close, guys, do you have more points?
I think I'm good.
Okay,
Yeah.
guys, it's Blue Voice at 12. I was with Onthatile and Alex. Busy with information or informatic communication and technology. Please don't forget to subscribe and lapano.
unohitha lapha notification button lapha uthi ting lapha bese ngezansi wenze njalo. Please comment. We want to hear your views regarding the episode. If you did enjoy it, please comment. I did enjoy. Mawukuthi khona usadinga or you are not satisfied ngokwenzakalile today, please on your there on comment section, please usho, because we're gonna come back with part 2 of ICT. I am Lindani Mthethwa. I'm out.